What's up, everybody in YouTube land? This is your girl T, coming live and direct from T's Corner with a recap of Season 1, Episode 3, Queen Sugar, Thy Will Be Done. Okay, I got notes, so I'm not talking for like 55 minutes, because y'all know I'm long-winded, I get going. So, the episode starts out with a reading of the will, and Aunt Vi, Charlie, Nova, and Ralph Angel are in the office with the attorney going over the will. And the will, pretty much straightforward in what you would think. He left Aunt Vi True Love, which is the boat named after True, who is um, Nova and Ralph Angel's mother. And so I guess at some point we're going to get into that, because I think Nova's the oldest, Charlie's in the middle, but Ralph Angel and Nova have the same mother. So Pop was stepping out somewhere. But they have 800 acres left to the kids. And his will was written in 1989. And Nova asked the attorney, and like it was shortly after Ralph Angel was born. It was just like Ralph Angel is like 10. And I was like, God, I was 9 when that will was written. So, and I'm 25, 26 now. So, anyway, and so Nova was like, he was a little nostalgic in his feelings because he finally got his boy after having 2 girls. So, um, he doesn't, that will can't really apply to today. He didn't expect us to give up our lives now and take over running the sugarcane farm as adults. And Ralph Angel said, yes, he did. So he told me so. I said, when did he tell you? He said, last week, last month, all the time. This is what he talked about. He wanted that for us to pass it down. And the girls are pretty much like, this is not my life. We gonna sell and make moves. And Ralph Angel is like, well, this is a chance for me and Blue to have a new start. We can, stay at Pop's house. We can run the field. Excuse me, I'm yawning again. Bring the cane crop in. And they're like, Ralph Angel, you may have the experience, you may know what to do because you've worked with Pop. You don't have the money to keep this thing afloat. And he looks at Charlie as if it's a given that she should be financially responsible for his endeavor. I do not agree with that. Yes, she is the family member with the money, and the property has been left to all 3 of them. But you just can't assume she's going to foot the bill for you, because this is not something that she necessarily wants for herself. Excuse me, guys. So I was like, I see his point, but then I also see the girl's point. So it's kind of like, you don't want to lose your heritage by letting your daddy's land go. Then it's been in the family for X amount of years and whatever. But at the same time, you've already established your life. Coming from the girl's perspective, they've already established their lives, and they don't want to drop their lives to become farmers. This is not what they want to do. So that's going to have a little strife between the siblings about deciding what to do. And at this point, Charlie lets them know that Sam Landry had came by and made her an offer, and at least they should hear him out and see what he has to say, how much he's offering for the land, which Ralph Angels already told him is prime, it's prime farmland. So he's upset. Charlie calls Sam Landry to find out, when they can meet to discuss it. He's like, well, there's really no need for me to be there. Y'all have already made up your mind. You're not listening to anything that I say anyway. So he goes off to pick Blue up from school. Nova goes up to the prison to meet with a young man who's incarcerated. We don't know why. I'm sorry, y'all, my head itch. We don't know what this young man did. He's saying what he's accused of doing. He's saying he didn't do anything. And Nova's just like, I got your back, brother. Be strong. You want to fight this? I'll help you fight this. So, Davis comes to Aunt Vi's. And Aunt Vi's like out front on the porch sweeping up or doing something. And he comes and she looks at him and I'm sorry guys. It's 11:30. Y'all know I'm tired every week after watching this show. It is everything in me to stay up and watch this show. And then of course I want to talk because it's a great show and I want to talk about it. So excuse my yawning because I am tired. And so I'm checking my notes, trying to make sure that I am not skipping anything. So anyway, when he comes up, Aunt Vi, ain't got no words for him, hits him with a serious side eye and goes on about her business. And then when she turns to go in the house, he follows her and she makes sure, to let that screen door slam in his face, just pretty much saying, Davis, you are not welcome here. And so when he comes in, Hollywood and Ra are sitting at the table, and they engage him in conversation. Hollywood offers us some coffee. All right, we ain't got no more. So, oh well, we got some iced tea in the icebox. Like, we ain't got no more of that either. And he's like, he understands, and he's like, okay, it's cool, I'm good, because we ain't got nothing in this house for you. And so then Micah comes out, sees his dad, is like, oh, I thought you were gone. And Charlie comes out like, what are you doing here? We're coming home in 2 days. We'll talk then. And this is when he lets her know that the Houston police want to question him. I will stop yawning after I get done. When I get into bed, I won't be able to go to sleep because this is my life. But I do apologize. It's not that I don't want to talk to you guys. It's not that you're boring me. I enjoy talking to you guys. I'm just really tired. I work all the time. So, and then he lets her know that 2 of the guys who have been accused, along with him, are going to be suspended. League rules. And so, she just wants to know what happened. And he tells her, he's honest with her, and he tells her that they did not rape that girl. She was a paid hooker. And that he did have sex with her, but just once. As if it makes a difference how many times he had sex with her. But what I don't understand is, first of all, how do you think, one is better than the other? Okay, yeah, you didn't take it by force, which is good. I'm glad you didn't rape anyone. But you got a beautiful, loving wife who's smart and who has your back. Even after the accusations come out, she's still doing the stand by your man thing because she believes that you are being honest with her. And you paying hookers. For what? I don't understand, dudes. Gotta just, want that have your cake and eat it too type of thing. And it doesn't make sense. Because I'm like, if you got a good woman at home that is doing everything that you want her to be doing, why are you out there shopping? I mean, okay, yeah, you're on the road. Groupies is on you or whatever. But this wasn't even a groupie. This was a hooker. You had to pay her. She gonna make you feel special because you paid her to make you feel special. Like, really? So, anyway, so I'm like really done with Davis. And it's a shame because he's absolutely gorgeous. But I'm just like, he is so freaking full of it. You got this beautiful, intelligent woman who loves you. And you out here with your teammates running trains on hookers. Really? Couldn't y'all all get your own hooker? You play in the league. Y'all sharing hookers. Ugh. Anyway. Then he says, I'm ashamed and I'm sorry, but I shouldn't be demonized for what I done because I've only had sex with her one time. That don't mean I've only cheated on you once. I mean that just one particular hooker, I only slept with her one time. And he feels like she's wrong to be mad about it. Really? I'm like, first you keep popping up at the funeral and stuff, being selfish. Now you want her to go and do the whole Family United Front thing in Houston for the police. But you done slept with a hooker. You weren't thinking about family when you was sleeping with a hooker. But now you want them to have you back. And Micah's torn. He loves his dad. He loves his mom. He's just torn. He in the middle of it. And, a lot of people don't realize that adult situations affect kids just as much as it affects the adults involved in the situation. So, the siblings go and meet with Sam Landry. And Sam Landry offers them $850 an acre for 800 acres. And Charlie's done her homework, so she knows it's worth at least twice that. And he's like, well, you're not going to get any better offers this late in the season, and I want to go ahead and plan it this season. So she was like, well, give us some time to think about it. And he's like, what kind of time? And she was like, well, at least give us a week. And he acted like she had asked for like half his life. He's like, a week? Good Lord, child. I give you 2 days. At this, Nova hits him with the ultimate side eye. Like, are you serious, dude? So she knows that there's a reason that he is pushing this. There's got to be something that he's in such a hurry to get this land. So Nova's worried about the land, and worried about not so much the land, she's worried about what they're going to do with it, because she already has her own life and she's already doing her own thing. And she tells Charlie not to worry about what's going on there with the land and with the dad after his passing and everything like that. She needs to focus on herself. More importantly, she needs to not worry about what is going on with Davis in Houston, because he got himself in that trouble. Like, he got himself into that trouble. So you don't need to worry about him. Let him worry about that mess that he's gotten himself into, and you worry about you. You focus on you. And that's great advice, because, yes, his actions have affected all of y'all, but he didn't think about that ahead of time. He didn't think about how his wife was going to feel, how his son was going to feel. He's worried about doing dirt and not getting caught, and then he gets blasted. Not only does the hooker apparently snitch, or somebody done talked, but you're caught on camera. And the fake TMZ got it. Now, I will say TMZ irritates me, because I think they are like so messy and have like no respect for anyone. But I will say that TMZ do be breaking stories. I will give them that. They break stories, and I'll be like, I hear it on TMZ, and I don't believe nothing I hear on TMZ. TMZ said Prince was dead. I said, they're a damn lie. I don't believe it. And I wait for the Associated Press. Once the Associated Press say it, I'm like, this shit is real. But TMZ broke that. They did. I ain't want to believe it, but they broke it. And then they pissed me off, because I'm a huge Sheila E. fan. And they like meet her at the airport when she's on her way to Minneapolis. I'm just like, really? Kind of tacky. That's why I don't fool with them. But they break it. And on Queen Sugar, it's not TMZ. It's the news with a Z. So it's the television version of TMZ who is breaking the stories. And they're breaking these stories about Davis and his fellow gladiator teammates. So anyway, the girls are at the diner. Wait a minute though. Is it before that? Let me back it up. I might have skipped something. I did. Let me back it up. Umba is working at the diner. And God, what is her name? I can't even think of this chick's name. But she out there flirting with Hollywood and all up in his pickup truck. I want to say Roberta, who is a co-worker of hers. And pretty young thing. So Anvi comes out and gets in the car, gives Hollywood a kiss, pulls off, talking about, ain't your break over? Because I'm about to go on my break, blah, blah, blah. So they go and they have a nice little couple's lunch on the back of the pickup truck. And they look in a secluded spot or whatever. And he's talking about, she was like, tired feet is all she's going to have because these farmers are not tipping. And he was like, you're not going to get no good tips till after planting season. Well, and then she goes back into the spiel. And the night that they were sitting on the boat, they had this conversation. And then again this time. And it's like, to me, I feel like Aunt Vi feels like she's not enough for Hollywood, and she's just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop and for him to go off to someone younger who can give him children or this life that he wants. And it's obvious that Hollywood loves her. He ain't going nowhere. He don't want to go nowhere. So stop bringing it up, Amba. Okay? So then she go back to work after her break, and the girls are there, Charlie and Nova. And it's like, you done invited us to lunch and forgot you were working. So she sits down and she tells him what it is. She's like, not really sitting down to lunch. She just sits down and says, I want y'all to stop bullying Ralph Angel. And Nova makes a really brilliant point. Ralph Angel's a grown man. Can't nobody bully him. Just because they don't agree with him doesn't mean that they're bullying him. And since they have jobs and they have money and he doesn't, that kind of does dictate who gets to make decisions. Because I'm not going out on a limb to be broke and financially strapped because you want to dream about being a farmer, but you fresh out of the pen and ain't got no money. That's just how I feel about it. So when Charlie runs into Remy Newell again, and he invites her to the potluck, and she's like, "No, I don't think I should come." And he writes down the address and is like, "You should come, meet some other farmers, some good people, find out some stuff about what's going on." And then he tells her that Sam Landry has a habit of staking out black farmer families that are in trouble and buying their land for way less than what it's worth and then making a fortune off of it. So he's a shyster. And you kind of get that feeling the first day that he comes sneaking out around the house when there's nobody home, or when he thinks that there's nobody home. And Charlie catches him. So we know he's a shyster. But now Remy Newell has pretty much solidified that in our minds. That yes, this is what you thought initially when you met him is who he is. He's a bad guy. He's bad news. Stay away from him. I'm sorry, my head is itching. Then they're at the house, and I forgot the child's name. Little Blue is down for a nap, and the girls are packing up the house, and Ralph Angel gets all upset. He's like, I wanted to come through, and they were like, we set things aside for Blue from Pop. And he's like, well, I wanted to do it, and it's a sentimental thing, and I understood him with that. I wanted to pick things out that belonged to my father to give to my son. I understand that, but at the same time, I also understand that these women have lives to get back to, and they don't have all this time for you to be sentimental and holding on to stuff. They need to get this stuff done so they can go. Well, while I'm sitting there going, well, I understand what Charlie and Nova are talking about, Ralph Angel just like loses it. He didn't have just about enough, and he's like, go then, Charlie. This ain't never been your home, no way. This is the place you had to come for the summers. So like I said, we're going to have to dig into their childhood and parentage and all that stuff to find out what goes on with them, because when the guy came to Nova's house to pick up his package to flip, he asked her about her fine-ass sister and the drama going on with the gladiators, and her response is, we aren't that close. So I think that they are not close, and I want to think that Ra and Nova are closer, but apparently they're not either, because then he flips the script and spazzes on her after he gets done spazzing on Charlie and says, and you ain't no better because you couldn't wait to get out of here. He's like, 18 and you took off. I've been here. This is my home. This is where I've been. I've been here with Pop. I've been here learning this stuff. So it's not just as easy for me to let it go as it is for y'all, because y'all didn't never want it anyway. So while they're arguing, they hear the beep, beep, beep of a large truck in reverse. And they go out to find the repo man out trying to take Pop's tractor. And apparently the repo people did not know that Pops had passed because they asked for Ernest Bordelon. So they weren't aware that he was no longer with us. But they were like, we are coming to repossess this. He's more than 90 days behind. And Charlie offers to write him a check to bring the account current. And he's not trying to hear it. Now, I don't know if he's not trying to hear it because somehow, some way, Sam Landry then got his hand in on the bank. And they're trying to make it as hard as possible for the Bordelons to keep their property so that they feel like they're backed into a corner and have no other choice but to sell to him. Or if it's just that stuff that the bank does, because I've heard lots of different situations and scenarios where if somebody comes to repossess something or somebody comes to turn something off or whatever for non-payment, that the person who comes is not the person who generally receives the payment, so you can't pay them to keep them from taking your property or whatever. So I didn't know what reason the repo guy had for not accepting Charlie's payment to bring the account current, because it was offered. Well, like I said, Ralph Angel, or Ra, as Nova refers to him, is at the end of his rope. He's just had enough. He's had enough. His father didn't pass. His baby mother ain't show up on time. He had to take the baby to the funeral. Aunt Vi trying to tell him how to raise his son. He 6 months out of the pen, can't find no job, ain't got no money. He's robbing corner stores. So he's just at, I don't know what else to do. He's at that point. So he goes into the house and comes back with a gun and said, ain't nobody taking nothing else from my family today. It's just enough. Nothing else. We done gave up our daddy and we didn't do it willingly. We had no other choice. Nothing else are you taking from us. So the guy who's with another of the repo dudes, he comes back with a sawed off. And Rod tells him straight up, don't pull no gun on my family unless you know what to do with it. Because I got this and I know what to do with it. And he just told him, I just straight up let this thing go. So you might want to get back in that truck and pull on out of here. Well, Nova and Charlie are trying to calm Rod down and get the gun and just get him inside. And, and they were already like yelling at the guy about, do you know what it is to lose your father? What we're doing here? Have you lost anything? Blah, blah, blah. Well, all conversation ceased when Rod came out with that gun. It's like, okay, he done lost it. Let's get him calmed down and inside. So they're trying to calm him down and get the gun. And I guess in all the commotion, little Blue wakes up. And he comes outside like, Pop, what's going on? And he's like, go back inside, Blue. And he's like, you coming? Like, I ain't going if you ain't going. He robbed for his daddy. Like, come on, let's go, Pop. Come on, Pop. And so with little Blue in his head, he kind of breaks down. He just starts crying. They get the gun from him. He goes on in the house. And the repo men take the tractor. And I'm just like, I still don't understand why they didn't take the payment. Charlie was going to pay them to keep the tractor there. So they take the tractor. And then Nova and Ra are in the house talking. And it's just like, I'm sorry, that he went there or whatever. So he's all raw and in his emotions and in his feelings. So he goes to Darla's. Now, I'm kicked back like, Darla, don't you fall for that shit. She fell for it. Now, she leans up to kiss him. And she did, as a concerned parent, make sure he wasn't coming to tell her something that was wrong with Blue, because he don't really fool with Darla. She's an addict. She's a junkie. He's angry with the way situations were, and that I guess, she wasn't taking care of Blue properly, because, when you're an addict, that is your main concern, is your next hit and how high you flying. So he doesn't fool with her. Whenever he says something to her, he got an attitude. He always real nasty and negative to her. And then because her dickhead of a boss wouldn't let her off of work, she missed picking him up for the funeral. So he's still ticked off about that. But when he's in his feelings and he's emotional, that's where he goes. So he goes to Darla's. And he's looking for a little physical comfort. And she obliges. Fool, because tomorrow you'll be all kinds of addicts and junkies again, and he won't want to talk to you again next week. But she starts unbuckling his belt right there. Can y'all at least go in the trailer? Put your business out in the street like that. How about y'all go inside the trailer? So they do, and that's that. And then Charlie goes to the potluck, the farmer's potluck, and kind of just like meets the black farming community. And I think that that's what Remy had in mind, because he doesn't want her to sell. He said, you're in a place that most black people are not in here. You own your land. Most of these people are leasing land and not making the money because, they leasing the land and then they got to sell their crops. And I think the guy's name's Prosper. Mr. Ernest's friend was saying how they're being cheated. The banks don't loan them money when they're in a bind. The people who are buying from them aren't buying at the same price that they buy from white sharecroppers and what have you. So, the black farmer is in a bad place. And he was saying, you're a leg up over that, even though Mr. Ernest didn't have money to farm these last couple of years, because you're on prime land that you own. So I would wish that you wouldn't sell it, that you would keep it. And so I guess that kind of got her to thinking about it. And she went back and talked with Nova. Now, neither her or Nova is still keen on becoming farmers and giving up their lives to come back and do this. But they've agreed that they will allow Ra to take over, him and Blue to move into Pop's house and take over and do the farming and get that stuff done. And Charlie will handle the finances, and Nova will handle the administrative stuff, and they will keep it running. And after a year, if they don't turn a profit, then they'll sell. But if they can turn a profit, then they'll keep going. So that sounds like a plan, and we're happy that they're not bickering and they've come to an agreement together. That makes them all happy. But when Ra talks to his PO, he's like, "That's great, but you have to have a job, you have to work 40 hours a week, and you have to have a pay stub. So owning your own land and owning your own farm sounds good, but that ain't going to do what we needed to do for your parole and probation." And, that's just some more crap, because this man's got his own land, can have his own business, but you need him to punch a clock. And that's how the system is set up. Even if you make a mistake and you go to jail and you pay for that mistake and you come out, it's the prison industrial complex. He has to do all of that in order to be in compliance. So he don't even have time to get the farm off the ground. So that kind of ticks me off, and that's how it really is. And I used to be a corrections officer, so yeah, I know that's how it really is. But another great episode. Queen Sugar really has me, and I swear I wake up every Wednesday wanting to watch Greenleaf. I miss y'all. I love y'all. Team GG forever. But I'm so glad that you didn't just leave me hanging. Oprah just came right back with something else that was fire on the network. So it's like, I ain't even really have time to miss y'all, even though I do. Because the following week, boom, Queen Sugar, and it took off. And I don't know who said it. I was watching some of the behind the scenes things on the Watch Your Own app. And I don't know if it was Ava DuVernay or Rutina Wesley. Somebody said that the show is a slow burn. It's not all action packed. It just paces itself and it moves along. But in that, it gives you opportunity to actually look inside of the characters and see the story and see, real people in these characters. And I totally agree, because I brought up Greenleaf to say, yes, I do miss them, but also to say that I always felt like the episodes that were a little slower, that didn't move, that weren't action packed, were where I really found my jewels and my nuggets as far as life lessons that I can take from television show, because like all the good stuff I've ever learned, I learned from TV in some way, whether it was Sesame Street or Greenleaf Empire, whatever. I've learned something from them all. So I think like the slow burn shows, they give you, when it's not like, oh my God, did you see that? Oh my God, did you hear what she just said? When it's not that, when it's real calm and it just flows and it's just real life and real people and real emotions and real feelings, I think that the audience more gets to feel that and gets to relate to that and gets to really just dive in and break it down for what it is. And you don't always get that when it's like, snap, 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 right to something else. Ooh, this big thing happened, then this big thing happened, and this gigantic thing happened, and the show was just action-packed for 60 minutes. No, because life isn't like that. And I think that this show really reflects real life. Life does not go 100 miles per hour every day, all day. There are spurts. And sometimes you just in the lane on cruise at 55. And on cruise at 55 is when real life happens. And so I really applaud the writers, directors, producers for telling a real life story and giving us time to absorb what is going on in these characters' lives. And maybe even allowing us to see ourselves in them. So, episode 3, Queen Sugar. Another great episode. Thank you to OWN and everyone involved, all of the actors. I'm just like really thrilled that these shows are coming on, and I realize that these actors and actresses have been working for years and have done other things, but I've never seen any of them. So for me, they're all new, and I am enjoying this new talent. So, signing off from T's Corner. Comment, subscribe, agree, disagree, whatever you want to do. I love talking to you guys.